Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, March 29th. I'm Justin Hickman with Vertispan, and today I don't usually stream this day. Colin usually does the Wednesday streams, but I had some spare time and wanted to go ahead and jump into the GWT In Browser Database that I had mentioned in the previous stream. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So if you recall, I was looking at PouchDB, which is a JavaScript, um, basically like a CouchDB database, but for in the browser. This one does syncing with a remote server, um, but I don't think I'm going to do any of the other remote syncing, at least for the time being. I did some playing around last week with. I guess it wasn't fiddle. I just did a local index.html and just played around with it just to see just a general sense of how it worked. So I'm going to have something similar. Obviously, this is Java, so it's going to be a little bit different in regards to the API. In between streams, since last week, I went ahead and created a new project structure. I did start out with Jackal, but was having some issues with that setup. So I went back to GWT 2.10 and just created a small project, make sure that everything loads. I copied the source from my web worker stuff, so some of the logging is probably still web worker oriented, but that's fine. Inside. Executed. Sure. That way we know that, at least in the other log, that is not running. Do I not have my... Oh, I don't have my code server running. I swore I started my code server. Let me go ahead and start that up. No wonder it didn't compile. There we go. All right, now the entry point has executed. Cool. So I am probably going to take this browser window. Sounds like my fan is kicked on my laptop. I'm not sure why. It's not like I'm doing a lot on my computer right now. So first thing, let's I'm going to call it GWTDB. So in the core, let's go ahead and put some of my code in here. And I'm just going to create some stuff in here. And this is going to be a little different because I know that it's creating a new instance, but it's kind of like a singleton. So I mean, I guess a constructor for this guy could probably create like an internal database handle so that it would be able to reference the actual backing database. But then all operations would basically just delegate to that. I guess that's not a terrible idea. So the top level class would have like a static holder for all of these. Probably is fine with that. And these are all string based, so let me go ahead and create a map of string to GWT db internal. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Oops, where did that browser go? Database, because they basically do act like singletons. And of course, I'm not going to implement any of the HTTP remote URL stuff. Eventually, I can pass it an extra arg for options. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I'm just going to hold some of this stuff internally, just in an in-memory database as the first implementation. I guess that would be what I would have because there are different implementations. Where's that? So like under, why can't I scroll down? There we go. So there's different plugins. Is that all just one page? That's one long page. Plugins. So I guess it could be like strategies. So let me create a new package. I'm probably going to seriously rename a lot of this stuff. And I'm just going to create a class called GWT in memory. I don't really want to use the word strategy everywhere. But I don't know what this is going to look like long term, so it's fine. All right, close those out, and this is going to hold a map of string to GWT strategy instances. Instantiated DBs. Just for now, let's do this. All right, so then public GWT. Of course, I'm starting out with a implementation. I should probably go in the entry point, and let's see how this is going to look. So if I had a GWT DB equals new GWT and give it a name, and good example. Oh, let's just go with DB name. DB name. Of course, this is probably wanting to use generics. So let's say that I have a public static final class person. So first name, last name, age, getters and setters for all of those. Let's go ahead and create a constructor containing all of them, and a constructor that is no args, just for the time being. All right, so then it's a GWT of some model object, right? This is going to be of a person, and use generics on that. Cool. All right, so that is going to construct that. I could probably, let's see, leave it final with DB strategy. I really hate that name. Getter default. So let's actually set it. Returns the value which is specified in key map default value. Does it actually create the I forgot to clean the floor for my Roomba, so it probably ran over a bunch of stuff. Doesn't look like it adds this, so I can always do like a compute if absent. Yeah. Database name, and that's going to return a new in-memory strategy. This, oops, strategy equals that. All right. All right, so this will allow us to call new database name no matter how many times that we want, and it'll always get the backing strategy or adapter or whatever we want to call it. I am not entirely sure what we would want to call it at this point. I'm just thinking in terms of like the Gang of Four strategy pattern. I don't know why I'm getting so many notifications. That should probably be generic 2. And let's go ahead and go to the implementation. Let's pull this to the other side. Hopefully my face doesn't cover it all. Just so that we have that. And this is going to be of M. Right? Extends M. Super M. I can never remember how that works. Sometimes I hate generics. Oh, it's static. That's right. Duh. I guess anything, but I'm going to have to I'm going to have to cast it. Not a big fan of that, but I'm not entirely sure how to do that otherwise. So if somebody were to create it with it, I mean, you're just with like a list or something, you're going to get a class cast exception. If you were to use the raw list type and add some random object and then call get, and it tries to do the cast, you'll get a class cast exception anyways. So not a big fan of the other runtime checking there, but what can you do? All right. So here we can put an object, giving it an ID, and do some change monitoring. And I'm not going to worry about replication. Let's see. Start a guide. We did a little bit of this before. Let's just take a look at how this would work in this particular case. So I am going to start out with promises. I know that it supports callbacks. I can always add those later, but I think that promises would be a little bit better for what I want to do. Oh, thanks for the follow, Frazek. I appreciate you stopping on by. So put. So it looks like I'm probably going to have to implement the strategy here too. So because I'm going to be delegating to all of my implementations, and by default this is just going to do the in-memory for now. We'll at least see what that's going to look like. I'm going to throw this over here. That way they're all together. All right. So let's just see what this would look like. So if I did a put new person, Justin Hickman, I'm 20. Sure I am. I wonder if there's a difference, because I know that there's a put, there's a post. And I remember from last week, whenever I was doing this, the download zip contained a tiny bit of difference in the other code. And I can't recall why. And of course, this is going to have an ID, but can't exactly have an ID injected onto an existing bean. So how do we accomplish that? I suppose we can hold something behind the scenes as a different data type. It's a good name for that. Just a node. That's going to be of some type of your model. So if I put in a public, well, this is an interface, so I don't need that, promise. Ew, I do not have promise on here. It's my dependencies. I need elemental in here. Is it DOM or core? Let me try core. And I'm going to get rid of that because I think I'm going to put the dependency stuff in here. It might be DOM. Let me change that out to the DOM. So it probably makes sense for that to be DOM. For promises to be in there. And I need to re-import my Maven project because I did change the class path. There it is. Okay, so that was in there. Out of curiosity, where actually is that? That is in, oh, Elemental to Promise, so it's its own project. Okay. So if I do a put, I'm not entirely sure. What is the return value of put? I wonder if I should do API guide here. All right, here we go. Put. And that callback. What does that return? Some sort of response. Okay. Yeah, let's see what that would look like. Oops, I mean to shift over to a different screen. I'm just going to create a liquid DB response. I don't know what it's going to have yet. Not until we can figure out some of this stuff. And this is going to be model, right? I should probably overview this. Because if you think about it, I'm not going to have the ID. So in this little getting started where we're changing the ID, we're not going to have that unless I were to in my database options. That might be a good one to have. So let's create a file here. Mark down. Huh. Swore that IntelliJ had a markdown viewer. Preview. Ah, there it is, side by side. Title. There we go. Cool. All right, so just for generic tasks, just so that I remember these for later, I wonder if I can do like a checkbox. Does that work? Ah, there we go. Actually does do checkboxes, cool. And if I do X in it, it actually checks it. Cool. This one, possibly in the database options, add an ID property provider. That way, if let's say that this person object already had an ID, let's say that private string ID, I would want to be able to utilize that ID instead of having the ID on the other wrapper type, possibly. I don't know. We'll just have to see how this goes. And this has a... Okay, so that title is the title of that. So this has an ID and a revision. You can update an existing doc by using the revision. That might be a little bit more difficult. Yeah, because of the fact that you can just slap on any arbitrary properties onto a JSON structure or a JavaScript object. You can't really do that in Java. I mean, we can do some things because this does translate out to JavaScript, TypeScript, JavaScript. I'm not a fan of that idea, though. Because any object in here could be translated and create like a property map of it. Where's my in-memory strategy? So implement that. So here I'm going to have some sort of wrapper type. All right, that returns a promise. Of course, we'll need to execute that promise. Result. Not entirely sure what to do with that result yet. That is a response object. Collapse that so you can see it a little bit better. So I'm just designing this on the fly. There's really no ideas behind this. all of these are basically just going to delegate. So my GWT node. So it's just passing in title, just basically the bean parts. So anything that it uses internally are going to be the ones with the underscore private properties. I'll have to figure out what it does for revision, because obviously it keeps track of every single revision. So anytime that you update an object, it just increments that revision, and you would be able to look at a previous revision, I believe. So like here, you can do a revision diff. So if you had the revision IDs on both of those, you would be able to do a diff, and like, holy crap, I don't know how to even approach something like that, because of the fact that we don't have reflection on the GWT side as easily. I know that we can do some annotation processors, or with the legacy GWT generators for that, using maybe like AutoBean or something or other. But I'm just trying for something very simple. Like, I just want to be able to index some data. So let's just have a very rudimentary implementation of this. It doesn't have to have a full use yet. So let's see, how do you fetch a document? So in this starting guide, it was doing all docs, and it just passes a bunch of options to all docs. So if I do all docs, why can I not do that? Okay. So fetches multiple documents indexed and sorted by the ID. Deleted documents are only including if options.keys is specified. So this one, if you you have to pass it options, and if you include the include docs, it'll include the actual document. Otherwise, you'll only get the ID and the other revision properties for that object. So I do need to wrap each one of these objects inside of a GWT node. And I can probably have a string get ID and string get revision. I mean, just rev, and get doc. Right. Let me just create an implementation of that. Just a dummy one. And this is basically just going to be a wrapper type for now. I just did. Can the revision be updated? I don't know. Let's just go with ID for now. just for now. So then in my in-memory strategy, I'm going to put that up there, get rid of my palms. And I'm just going to have that there. Do this by set, no, not map, string, because this is going to be by ID. Obviously, we're going to have other indexes in here. Would do node m. Let me just double check if the tree map is what I want. Natural ordering of its keys or by a comparator provided at the map creation time. I could probably make this comparable. Ow. Comparable of string, because that's going to be a what's that comparator? Comparable. All right, comparing. Key extractor. Let's get D, right? Not this. Key comparator. String. Case and sensitive order. Is that static? Oh wait. Duh. Can I do this somehow? I kind of want the comparator to be static. Comparator of it db node. Maybe not static. Only because I want the other generics to work. That's fine. All right, compare to comparator dot compare this and oh, there we go. So that's basically just going to grab the ID, and it's case insensitive. And because we're doing that, then this tree map will be able to work because it is ordering by the ID comparator, right? Is that right? Yeah, let's see. All right. So here, store. I'm just gonna put for now. I need a sort of key creation. I mean, do you have to, at the creation, come up with your own ID? Put versus post. Basic rule of thumb is put new documents with an ID, post new documents without an ID. Okay, so post will auto-generate an ID, but put assumes that you already have an ID, which means that we can't just put that. So let's change this to post. Because put will need to have the actual node with the ID in it. Maybe. So we need to have some sort of ID generator, ID strategy. You know what's a good one for this? I know that's going to be a problem if multiples are being added at the same time. Not data, date. To ISO string might be better. Yeah, ISO string. To ISO string. That's good. There we go. And in here, I know that I can do this in a constructor. Strategy, ID strategy. I'm just going to do it here. Implement first, get it to work, and then we can refactor it later to be better. New with db at m, and this is going to have a ID strategy create ID, and then the model object, which is the document. Should probably change the generics on this. Think document oriented. Okay. Yeah, let's change this to D. All right, so then fetch document. I know that we can do a get, and that's passing it the ID, but let's just do all documents for now, and that just returns a list. All docs. I know I'm getting dangerous into any kind of copyright issues. Don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that this is Apache v2. License. Apache license. Yeah, Apache v2. So it may be okay. I mean, I'm not actually using the code. I'm just using a similar API. I'll have to figure out what the legality is for that. So all docs, that passes an option, and that's optional. And that returns a promise of something. I'm just going to overload this. I am not sure what that's going to be a promise of. I think it's going to return a collection, like a list. List of well, nope. It's just going to contain a single object, giving it the offset total rows, and then a rows property that has the nodes in it, and optionally having the document. That might be fun. Wish I had names for these. Let's just all docs result response. Just so that we're clear. All right, so private int offset, private int total rows, and then private list of GWT DB node of M or D. Sorry, I need to change that mentality. So these are documents, quote unquote documents. Rows. And I'm just going to create a constructor. All of that. Let's go ahead and set those to final. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Just type it in faster than using assist and getters for all of those. Cool. So then this is going to return a single all docs response of D. Cool. So then, if I were doing this in order, I would delegate it first. Delegate methods, strategy, all docs. Thank you. Now, I will overload that later and provide a options argument. All right, so then back up to this guy. It's a strategy that one. We only have the single implementation. And get rid of some of these. All of these little tiny classes. Yeah, let's just get rid of all of it. Reopen it if I need to. So this one I will need all docs. Return new promise. Resolve reject. And in here, I'm going to do a I didn't actually resolve that. Invoke. I don't know what that needs to be. Let me change that to a class, since I don't know what it is yet. I think it's going to include the ID and the revision. It might actually include the node itself, sans the document. I mean, I should, even though this is an in-memory database, I should probably go ahead and implement it with the sparse data from the first day, rather than trying to take that data out at a later time. That way, if I did have a remote strategy, like a GWT RPC strategy, and it was just calling an RPC service for all of these put, post, get, whatever, it would be able to get the sparse data from the server, and then I would be able to make the calls later with the actual documents in it. That could be a lot larger, depending if it has like attachments and everything else. So with all docs, I need to resolve on invoke, new all docs response, 0 offset. This is going to be store.size, store.values. And I'm going to do a collections unmodifiable list. Of course, that has to be a list first. I kind of want this as a list. I don't want to have to copy it. It seems kind of silly to copy, right? I mean, at some point, whenever we pass options in here, it'll probably have some options for like a semaphore or something that can reduce, like filter the collection. But for now, we're just going to hold on to it. What the heck? What did I just do? List. I don't know if it needs to be unmodifiable or not. Let me static import for that. And static import for that. I feel it's a little bit cleaner to do the static imports, because it's meant to read like a literal, like a, what are those called? Literal DSLs. Okay. And console log. I am just going to log out data store has result.get rows. Offset plus result offset. Yeah, that's good enough for now. Do anything with that? I could probably do that. All right. Does that do anything? I put there? Oh, size. So I should have one object in there. Yeah, one row, offset 0. That's kind of cool. I mean, we're not doing anything special yet. And of course, this right now I'm needing to copy those values into a new object without the store. I know this is really ugly. I know. Let's just map this to item, new GWT node item.getID. It's copying it just to drop off. What? Is it because of this? Oh, do I need to specify the M? Probably need to specify the M. Yeah, there we go. Create a sparse node. Document. And this is just hard-coded for now, because we're not actually filtering that out. So if we were to print, I should probably create a toString for this, just for fun. Let's generate it with everything except for the comparator. I don't need the comparator. All right, so then I love the use of streams. I just want to see the other data. All right, let's refresh that. That way we can actually see the data. All right, so here are my rows. I should probably do that on a different line. But we have, if I should join that with a new line, that might be good. So if I did that, then join with a new line, is that possible? Yeah, we'll get it a lot easier. All right, so ID is null. Is the ID null? Create ID. This is using a JavaScript date, so string, right? This.id equals that. This would be final. Final. Yeah, why is that a problem? Let's So in my in-memory strategy, let me let's console that node. So I did talk to Colin earlier. He is planning on streaming later this afternoon. Yeah, there's the node. Revision's empty, and it has a document, which is a person. So the idea is there. Did I do something wrong in my stream here? So I have this list. And I'm mapping. I'm just grabbing the ID from that item. Let's peek at that. Item console log to string. Should probably prepin that. Yeah. Let's do that after the map. And it's null there. D. Oh, I never actually tied that in. That's weird. Why wouldn't I have? Oh, maybe it's because I implemented the methods. Okay, never mind. Stupid. Okay. That was my bad. Okay, there we go. So this one actually has the ID in it. Okay, cool. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Get rid of that for now. I don't need to peek on it anymore. And we don't need to console log it there. Alright, cool. And of course, if we had like docs options class, probably overload that. All right, so with an options, oops, let's see what kind of option. I only need one for now, and that was basically to include docs. So this is going to basically be private Boolean include docs. Default false. All right, and then is there a builder generator? No. That sucks. So all doc options public that include docs. Include docs. This not include docs equals include docs, and return this. Right. So then over here, options. I should probably just options on that. Include docs true. Okay. So I need to overload this. That's weird. Docs. I swear I saw two implementations for that. Let's get rid rid of that. Over here, doc options. Oh, why don't you just do the delegate to that. And then over here, all doc options. Here, I'm just going to return this, and here, I'm just going to return all docs, passing it all doc options create. So, defaults. So, code reuse here. So then, I think this should be fine. So I need like an optional map here, because can I do an optional map if true? Well, you can always do like options that include docs. Item or that, which means that I would need to have a public boolean include docs. I don't know if I like that or not. Probably should do an is. Getter, not a setter, but a getter. I guess I could put a setter, but this is basically the setter. All right, so if it does include the docs, it's just going to return the item by itself. Otherwise, it's going to trim it down to just the ID and eventually the other revision. If I go to that point. There we go. All right, so now it has the other document. If I don't have that, refresh that, the document will be null. Nice. Because then, if you were to pull at least the ID, you should be able to call get. So let's implement the fetch. All right. So retrieves a document specified by the document ID. All right. So in the other strategy, this returns a promise as well of the document. No. What does it actually return? Oh, yeah, that gives back the document. Oh, but I think I might have to return back the other node. So I need to do the GWT DB node of D of that document. Get string document ID. All right. Now let's go ahead and implement this across the board. Delegate. Then over here, implement get, return new promise, resolve reject. All right. So what happens if you don't have? I should probably create a. Should probably download this app again, the demo, just so that I can play around. So that's kind of cool that it includes the history. So I'm gonna have to at some point, if I do want to create a history, Might have to figure out something with that. Do I just do resolve.onInvoke that? I mean, if it doesn't exist, we'll have to figure out what to do. Wonder what kind of errors you would get with that. Yeah, unfortunately, we have to use that wrapper, like I was saying earlier, because we can't just plop on arbitrary properties. I mean, I could, but they just wouldn't be accessible easily. Well, I could probably do that. Yeah, you know, I could probably do that and create a utility that would be able to do that for me. That might not be a bad idea. That way I don't have to do this extra crap. I mean, I would still have to have the DB node, but it should basically be a thin. It's not even a wrapper. It'd have to be like a utility. Could be a wrapper. Let me think about that. So if we were to post, let's see what that would look like. So we have the document here, and I do need to rename that to a D. Because what if I were to JS as property map that document? Can I do that? So if I set ID to same ID here, map dot. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just curious as to what that would look like. So in here, what if I were to console log result get rows get 0. Oh wait, that's the other node itself. I want to look at the document. Yeah, see, I do have the ID directly on that document. It just wouldn't be readily available, like I said, to the application code. But I could, in turn, just modify the bean directly. I mean, what if that stuff already exists? I don't know. Because you wouldn't be able to get here, let me show you. So GWT DB node. Let me just put it in impl for now, and let's just actually let me just put a static method in here. I know I don't like static methods inside of interfaces. So what if I were to get IDs from some that needs to be a document? Oh, of course, that needs to be like that. And I need to refactor this to a D. mean, I'll probably create constants for these later. Oh, wait. How do you to convert that to a string? Might get a class cast exception there. I don't know. All right. So what's my problem? Oh, it's because get the ID. Only because of the method reference here. No. That shouldn't be a problem anymore. Okay, there. So if I were to do that, so if I were to get document, and I were to do GWT DB node, get the ID on that document, let me, this is going to return a string object. I should have probably, oh, there we go. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely an option of basically just modifying the object directly. Then it would be a lot closer to this stuff, because then I'd be able to get the ID and the revision on each one of these objects and not have to deal with wrapping, unwrapping, stuff like that. That might actually not be a bad idea. I wonder how... Does anybody actually call _ID? I don't use this utility, so I don't know how important some of this stuff is to be able to use as a consumer of this. I mean, is it basically really intended for internal use? Like, would I be able to get an object by its ID? I'm not sure. Would it be bad? Would it be bad if I did that? I mean, it's going down an interesting road. Because at least I wouldn't have to return this. I would just be able to return the document directly. But it would require the use of a utility to actually grab the metadata, and that would be pretty important to know. I mean, if the object didn't have the metadata, I mean, you would have that same situation with PouchDB. Like, if you had an object, like a person object, and you never put it into the database, if you were to try to grab its _ID property from it, it wouldn't be there. It'd just be undefined. So it's really no different. Yeah. I think I might do that. Alright, so let's do that. So if I were to post a document, I am going to return in this implementation. This one still needs to be updated. So D. I want to remove the other references to the node. So then in here, I'm just going to be storing this one's a little bit different. Because I would need to have access to some of the metadata and the history for a particular node, because the ID is going to be the same, but it could have a separate history. So I might keep it like that inside the internal structure. But here, I would just do get document from that. Oh, it's because I didn't actually do that there. Document. Oh wait, that should be the document, and that should be the ID. That way it's all in a single place for stuff. So private. Doing this in an interface. Can't have private static fields in an interface. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just have a static final string ID property. Maybe prop ID equals underscore ID. Let's get rid of some of these magical strings. So it's prop ID. All right. All right, cool. Don't need that. So that was all docs. Include docs. Let's do false on that. And that's why I needed the other wrapper type, because we're not necessarily going to be returning the document. We might be just returning, and this might actually result in multiple data structures to hold like histories versus the latest copy. I don't know what this is going to look like yet. So if I were to, well, let's go back to the docs here. I don't want to delete a database. I want to, let's update a doc. So this is using put. Did I do put or post? I did post. Put. Create a new document or update an existing document. If the document already exists, you must specify its revision, otherwise a conflict will occur. If you want to update an existing document, even if there's a conflict, you can also use force true option. New conflict revision created. Oof. Well, I'm not going to do revisions right now. Must be a pure JSON object, collection of name value pairs. If you try to store non-JSON data, for example, date objects, you will see inconsistent results. So this one, you can create a new document. So I guess if the ID doesn't exist, and that's the reason why I decided to go with post earlier, because of the fact that I didn't have the other wrapper type, and I didn't want to post in the other wrapper type. So now I can do put document, but it might require me to create something with a ID on it. So push constructor that method, and I'll do a put. Oh, great. I didn't realize which class I was in. So put. I'm gonna put this near post. Put the put near post. Put. There's post. There's post. Should probably reorganize this. I had a key binding for that at one time. Did that work? Did that reorganize? Yeah, looks like it reordered. Alphabetized. Alright. So I should probably Java doc some of that stuff. Not sure what to do about revisions and stuff right now, but let's do a db dot. Let's say that I have a new person, Bob Johnson from marketing, and he's 35. So let's db post that person. Then okay. Actually, let's specify the ID. So would db node set ID on person, and let's say this is just ID Bob. So then I should be able to not post. I would need to put this one. Because I think post, you can't have an ID. Post might always generate a new ID. Create a new document and let PouchDB auto-generate an ID for it. So there we go. If I'm doing a put, it's assuming that I might have my own ID that I'm adding to it. So not to generate a brand new ID for that. And then db get Bob, then result. I'm going to return null, console log, result. Sure. I have a two-string person. Two-string. Cool. Obviously, this won't do anything because I haven't implemented the put yet. Watch really wants me to stand up right now. Promise. Give this a little bit longer. Solve, reject. Ooh, why did that buried in so many parentheses? A fingernail clippings here. All right. I don't like the name of this. this, but eventually this will change. If the ID is null, resolve do this a little different. If the ID is null, then I should be able just to return post document, right? Right? I mean, if the ID isn't there, we can just do a post and do the auto-generated ID. Otherwise, we can resolve have to think of in terms of if this is going to a like a remote data store, like a RPC call or something. Because if it's RPC call, then I'm not going to have the data on hand. This one will make sense because putting a document, I mean, we need to know at the client side if it's a brand new document versus one that already has the ID. But if it already does have the ID, what do I do in that particular case? I need to kind of determine if the ID already exists. So is this like an update? Is this an update to an existing record? So that can be final because that's or I can just do store compute if absent the ID. So only if it doesn't exist. So if it does exist, I'm just going to return the existing one, right? And then in that particular case, I just need to do a node set document on it. I don't have that method. But I could put this as may create a subclass for this, like one for all of the read methods, one for the read-write methods that extends that, and then my implementation will implement the read-write one. Get document, get doc, set doc. I think that is final right now. Probably not a good choice here. We'll see. We'll see. So if the key is absent, I basically need to just do the same thing here. But I don't need to do that part. Oops. Yeah, let me just copy it all the way down here. Unit if absent. It's going to be in. This is going to be D. EID. be in. Oh wait, this is already going to put it in there, so I don't need to worry about that. We already have the ID on the object. Yeah, like that. Wow. So I guess I could have done this. Right? That's fine that I'm setting it twice. If it didn't exist before, it's just resetting it, which it's not expensive to do that. So now I just need to resolve on invoke and put DB response. I don't know what that's going to entail at this point. Okay. So then I get Bob and I return it. So what does this do? Not defined. Why is it saying it was not defined? That file just fine, right? Yeah. I am not entirely sure. Where is this failing from? So if I go out to here. Nope. Here. Oh, from the very first one? It's in the memory strategy, right? The very top one. Yeah. Let's take a look at that one. Post. I wonder if it's because I rearranged source code. Let's clear the console or the cache, and let's see if that changes anything. That is still causing. Oh, no. This is a normal breakpoint. Okay. So I guess it was some weird issue because I rearranged the other methods in that source file. Probably had some issues with it. All right. There we go. So we're just printing out that person directly. Console log that result, and that actually does have Bob in there. Okay, so if I were to do all docs again, I should probably put some cues as to what I'm looking at. So let's see. And because all of these are asynchronous, that's why this one is done first, because all of this is asynchronous, all of the promises. Of course, that's going to kind of interesting how that works. All right, let's see what that does. Just to print out. Do not want to pause on that stuff anymore. All right, so here we can see that we have two nodes after inserting Bob. This one has the auto-generated ID, and this one has Bob as the ID. And because I'm not including the documents, it's trimming that out. Now if I refresh, it'll have the documents in there, and we can actually see the actual documents. Sweet. Yeah, that works pretty well. I mean, obviously, we're going to have to, at some point, get into conflicts, and like if I'm trying to post something, I don't know. No, not post, put, because put could either create a new record or it could update an existing. We'll have to figure out if you want to update an existing document, even if there's a conflict. I need to figure out what the conflicts are. Yeah, we'll figure that one out. Put versus post. The basic rule of thumb is put new documents with an ID, post new documents without an ID. You should also prefer put to post, because when you post, you are missing the opportunity to use all docs to sort documents by ID, because your IDs are random. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the same case here. Possibly. Let me add somebody with the name starting with an A. So here, let's before we get into this, Alex. Let's put an Alex Johnson in here, and he's 55. That ID is Alex. I'm just curious if the tree map is actually sorting it correctly, and it does look like it is. So we are getting the items sorted by ID only because of the comparator. That's cute. That's really cool. And if you were to use, I mean, it claims in the documentation that your IDs are random. That's their implementation. I was using a date, so in my particular case, the ISO date will be ordered based upon creation time. So it's going to be ordered basically like a natural ordering based on creation time, or not necessarily creation time, but there's a truck outside my house. Not sure how much that's coming in on the microphone, but it looks like somebody is mulching up tree limbs from the recent winter storm that we had. All right, so what I'm going to do real quick, how long have I been streaming for? Why the stream info is no longer in my OBS. And I can't recall. There we go. Couldn't remember the command. Almost 2 hours. So let me take a quick break, and hopefully I can avoid more of the mulching that's going on outside. Whenever I come back, I mean, we got almost all of the CRUD. Create, read, update, delete. We haven't done the delete yet. So let's come back and do the delete, which is remove, I guess, in here. Looks like you can remove by the document or the document ID, and I'm assuming if you pass the doc, it has to have the ID and a revision property, but we're ignoring revision for now. I can probably put that up later. And let's see what that does. I don't know what the so the response. I should probably implement the other response. I just don't have much for it because I don't do the other revision or what it's using for the revision. But anyways, let me take a quick break. I need to change out my laundry, wait for some of this noise to be done, and I'll be right back. All right, I don't think I'm going to get past the truck outside the house. There's actually quite a bit of branches and debris. Hopefully, it's not coming in too much on the other microphone. I don't know if I have a noise gate on here. Can't see what I'm doing. That's fine. I'm trying to check out my Yeti microphone for the noise gate. Microphone. Alright. Mormon vintage. Signal cleanup. I mean, there's a noise reduction. I don't know if I want to do any of this stuff on live stream. So let me come back to that. Hopefully it's not too bad. I can hear it. But I can also hear my voice, so it's we'll just see. All right, so in here, let me create a utility for this. Private void display all docs. Set the DB, just put DB person. DB. Display all docs. DB. Ooh, it's noisy. All right, that way we can actually utilize this multiple times, because what I want to do is actually delete. Wait a second. Why isn't this used? Oh, that's funny. Oh, they both went to Alex and Bob Johnson. Okay, so I didn't even realize that I updated my record like that. All right, so this needs to be Alex, not person. So person, let's just name them, call him Bob. All right, let's refresh over here. All right, so now we have 3 people in there. We have me, and that was using the post. So that creates a brand new record with the ID strategy that comes with the application. The framework. That is so annoying. And then Bob and Alex, I'm setting the ID on both of those respectively, and it actually seems to do that. So there's Alex and there's Bob, and it's all ordered. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to do a remove for Bob. Then can I just like to have a null then, because you do have to call then to basically schedule the other promise to be executed, I think, if I understand that correctly. So let's go ahead and create a remove method in the other strategy. document, and this is going to be a promise of DB response. And here we're going to delegate to that. Nope. Wrong class. There we go. And then down here, implement remove. All right, return a promise, not pop-up factory, but a promise. Resolve reject. Oh, really close to my house. I need to create a new. Can I create a new screen capture, but of my phone? Nope. That was unintentional. I'll play around with that later. All right. So remove. So here, the document. I'm assuming that we would want to reject any that the document doesn't exist. Maybe, I don't know. So if I were to do a GWT DB node get ID on the document. If the ID is equal to null, or the store doesn't contain the ID, then reject on invoke. Does not exist. Otherwise, store.remove that ID. And I can return, no, not return, but resolve on invoke new response. We'll figure out what the responses are going to be later. So then after I remove, I'm just going to display all docs again. There we go. So we had 3, and now we have 2, which is going to be me and Alex. So Bob was removed. If I were to come back in here and remove Alex, refresh that, it should be just me and Bob left. There we go. That's what it looks like. And I should be able to remove based on the key, the ID as well. Promise. Nope. We need the strategy. Here we go. So this one, I am going to copy that and string doc ID. Then delegate here. Remove based on ID. Okay. I should probably I should probably do remove. So I'm not actually using the document except for getting the ID. So if I were to remove the GWT DB node, get the ID on the document, and return that, all of this will be the same. So then it just delegates to this that takes the ID and just checks to see if the ID exists or if it's null, and it rejects it. Otherwise, it resolves by removing the ID. So if I come over here, it should remove Alex, and that was based on the ID. And this one returned without Bob. 2. And that's probably good enough. That looks good to me. So I'm able to remove. So we have the create, which is basically post. You can post or put with the create, but with put, you might have some issues if it's using an ID that already exists. We'll have to figure out what to do about that, because that one would require some sort of revision. So create, read, we have, right now we have display all docs, which is basically just calling all docs. We can probably create some extra options, which are kind of nice. So if I take a look, I know that this was, this is basically an all for one type thing. So if I do all docs, we should be able to do like a limit. So we can say limit this to 5 records. We can start with a key, end with a key. There we go. So skip. So this one would allow you to basically set an offset. Like I want pagination to work. So we can implement all of these fairly easily. I don't know what all the attachments would be, but it does look like there's attachments available. And since it's underscore, it looks like this is related specifically for PouchDB. Sure. Okay, there is vocals in this song. It's like, I hear voices. All right. So yeah, and we have delete. So we got all the simple CRUD. Obviously, it's not going to be fast. Right now, it's all based upon the ID. So if you were to know the ID, then sure, that'll be fairly quick. But we might want to play around with indexes. I don't know if I'm going to get to indexes today. I'm going to have to figure out how indexes are going to work. Should I do anything else? I'm not going to worry about history right now, but it might be nice to have some sort of history. Because even deletes, if you look at delete, it doesn't actually delete. I wonder if I should just go ahead and add the revision in there. Because that's basically like I'm updating, and this is the last ID of what I'm updating. So if it doesn't match what's currently in the database, it should be like, hey, you're trying to update an out-of-date instance. What do I do? So that might be kind of nice. That one's just using the auto ID strategy. But whenever you delete, it's still there, but you can query. You can also delete a document by using put what deleted true. That's kind of interesting. If I'm not mistaken, you should still be able to get the deleted docs. So if I go back to all docs, deleted true. So the row for deleted document will have the revision ID of the deletion and extra key deleted true in the value property. So it does have the option of being able to return the deleted documents. It's just by default you won't see the deleted ones. Yeah, here we go. Deleted documents are only included if options keys is present. Okay. All right. I know that Colin said home by noon. He is Central Time, and it is 10:30 Central, so I should still have a little bit of time left where I can do other things. Yeah, let me go ahead and add a revision in there. Okay. Should probably do this as a utility with dbutil. And let's go ahead and I just refactor move members with dbutil. Yeah, all of those. Now I can actually use get ID, set ID, so that this one can be private. Static final string prop rev equals underscore rev. I guess I don't need to do that. Document set prop rev to revision. There we go. Here I can just do the same thing. Set prop ID, this map. There we go. Yeah, I gotta figure out. Do I even need this anymore? See, get rows now. It's pointless to do that, right? No, not really, because you may not have the other document because this is a sparse. I probably don't want a set doc here. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. All right, back to this. All right. Ooh, probably have the other revision on ID in here. I'm not sure how much I want to keep this type though, because it's really just a convenience on top of it. Uh, yeah, even this, it's like I probably don't even need to do this kind of stuff. So let's where's my usage of this? Oh, I guess I do need that because if the document doesn't exist, I will need to have an ID. I wonder if I have to refactor that completely. I don't know. All right, so where am I creating the new one? So that was post. So here I'm setting the E. Wonder if I should just create a different ID strategy. What is it using? Oh, that's going to be a terrible thing to look up. Because, I mean, looking at this, what is that? What is that? Something like that. Some sort of Indy 5 sum or. That's probably going to be expensive. It's a string base 64 encoding. That. I mean, I could do like a UUID, right? What does a UUID look like? I mean, that's similar. Maybe a UUID. Where's this strategy at? ID strategy. So I create a new implementation, UUID. UID strategy. That's strategy. What does that look like? I come in here and I change my to UID strategy. It failed. I swore that was part of the JRE emulation. Let's look that up real quick. Create unique ID. What is it? And I could just do unique ID. What is that? That's DOM. I don't want to use that. What's in DOM Global? I don't want to use anything out of GWT if I can avoid it. I'd rather use something that's JavaScript or whatnot. Script. Does that exist? I don't think self exists. Sure. Function. Huh. I did not know that existed. What's the browser compatibility on that? It's fairly recent. I mean, we're at 110 now. Look at that later. And it's only available in secure context. I like it, but probably not available enough for me to use. That's an interesting solution, though. I mean, I could always just generate. It doesn't need to be random. It could just be an auto increment. Yeah. Let's just ignore this for now. Do I have DOM Global? Do I have self? Yeah. Do I have crypto? No, I do not. Don't have it anyways, because it's probably not a standard. To do this. Alright, let's ignore that for now. Let's just use dates. There we go. That's fine. And this is just going to use the same strategy for the other revision as well. And post. All right. How am I doing? Oh, that's interesting. So I never, whenever I did the other put before, if the ID didn't exist, it would call post, which is fine. But otherwise, it wasn't setting the ID on the object itself. Oh, that's because it should have already had it, because I was calling getID. But we do need a new revision. So update revision. And I could probably start looking at trying to update old revisions. That might be kind of good. Why isn't that there? Okay. So close that so that we can see this a little bit better. Why is my machine running like this? Kind of weird. Now it's cleaning up my time machine backup. All right. So that is including the document with the fetch like that. All right, so what if, oh, so there's the revision, so that's good that we have that. These are so close to being the same revision. That's probably why I need to make sure that they're unique. So put, if it already exists. So let's say that we grab the ID from that document, and it does not exist. It does the other post, but if it does exist, we get down here to our own promise. However, if absent. Why would that be absent? Why would that be absent? If the document already had an ID. Oh, duh, because we're setting it externally. However, if the revision. Curious. Let's change this a little bit. Instead of the compute if absent, let's say that if store contains key. Otherwise, do this. All right. Trying to think. Here, why don't I just do this? Store get key, or the ID. So then if the node is null, didn't exist, and store. So then node is equal to one of these. Right? Already has the ID on this, but we also need to, so it doesn't exist in the store, so we also have to make sure that, might as well just grab it up here. Final string rev ID until get revision. If the node is null, if the revision ID is not equal to null, so how is that possible if they have a revision ID, but it's not actually in the database? I should probably reject that. I don't know. Do I need to reject that? Is it fine for me to add the revision ID on it outside here? I don't know. I'll have to see how that works in the PouchDB. Get curious. Um, So if it's not null, here I should probably check to see if the other revision ID differs, right? Yeah, this is getting into some weirdness. So in that particular case, I do need to maintain a different copy of that revision ID. It's just getting convoluted because of how many places I'm holding onto this data. I need to remember what the requirements are, or the roles and responsibilities are for each location of that. So basically what I'm trying to do here is wanting to figure out if the other revision ID is there already. Does it match the one in the other document that I'm passing in? See, and that's going to cause some problems too, because these are not creating copies of these objects. I mean, if this were on a remote database storage, it would make sense because it's just going to create a brand new instance of this document. So unfortunately, if I were to call fetch twice on the same object, maybe somewhere else in the other code base, it'll return the exact same instance because it is the in-memory strategy. And a person, a developer, a bit of code, would be able to update properties on that instance, and it will mutate the backing store, all without going through the proper channels of doing the puts and the posts. So it's kind of necessary to create copies of these. I mean, does it require something to support clonable? Yeah, that's gonna be a pain in the butt. But that is a valid concern. I mean, now that I'm looking at revision, I do not probably want anybody to be able to mutate the same instance that's in the other backing store without going through the GWT database first. So that is probably something that I need to start considering. I have been up for 2.5 hours. I am probably going to cut it here. I do have some things to think about for the next stream. I'll probably still stream on Friday. Maybe tomorrow. Depends on my schedule. But I need to figure out how to get past this little obstacle of mutating data. So thank you for joining me this morning. I believe that Colin will be on after his lunch, might be a couple of hours from now, and we'll see you then. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.